Welcome to the bathtub of yarny goodness. Foxy and I are here to make a mini sock with you. Yes, you. You and your Ravenclaw pride are about to make a mini sock. You ready? I know you have set aside some teeny needles and some pretty yarn. Here are my not so teeny needles because I'm going to make a giant mini sock so that everyone can see what we're doing. We begin with Judy's Magic Toe Up Cast On. I use it for everything. It is magic. You ready? Here we go. My yarn begins from front to back between parallel tips of my circular needle. Now, taking the end upward, holding it there, and also holding the other end down. Take a look at my hands. I'll get a little closer. This is the position I'm going to have to hold my hand for about a minute while I cast on the rest of the stitches. Alright, now I need a stitch on my top needle tip. To do that, I'm going to go down with the tips, in front, scoop a loop of the downward yarn, and up. That's all I need to do. Now I need one on the downside tip. I go up, scoop behind, and I've got a loop. Down, scoop behind, new loop. Up, scoop behind, new loop. Down, scoop behind, new loop. Up, scoop, down, scoop, and I have got not only 4 stitches up and 4 stitches down, but if I turn it over, you can see I've got a little purl bump thing going there. This is similar to the figure 8 cast on, but it's got that interlocking purl bumpitude. Is that a word? It is now. Welcome to Ravenclaw Tower. All right. I swing my tips up to 12 o'clock, over to 3 o'clock. I take hold of the tip that is now the bottom and pull. Because I'm on beautiful circular needles, I now have 4 up, ready to go on my working needle. Here we are. 1 stitch. You might have cast on 6. 6 is a good number, but I wouldn't go more than that for a mini sock. Okay? I'm going to take my first stitch. I'm going to incorporate the dangling end of yarn so that I don't have to worry about it later. And now I will do my first toe increase. As you all know, to make a left-leaning increase, I stick my yarn into the strand running below, pick it up, and twist it in a counterclockwise manner. Well, wouldn't it be easier if when I put in the running yarn below, I put in that counterclockwise twist? Let's do it. Here is the Sparrow way of putting in that twist. I typically hold my yarn like this. I hope you do too. Watch the tips of my fingers. Away from the knitting, down to the floor, toward my belly, and up. Now it's twisted around my middle finger in exactly the kind of half hitch that twists the yarn counterclockwise, so that next time around I'm going to make a left-leaning stitch here simply by knitting into that half hitch. Okay, I get almost to the end of my row. Aren't I clever? When I am scant by 1, I'm going to make the half hitch that goes the other way. Instead of wrapping it around my middle finger, I'm just going to curve my index finger through the air toward the screen, toward myself. Now I have to flip it over a little bit so that I'm pointing slightly at the sky. My palm is to the sky. And the half hitch that goes in that direction will lean to the right when I turn it into a stitch next time around. Let me do that again. I now have 6 stitches upstairs and 4 below. We are using the magic loop method, so as I turn my needles around, I scooch the cord through. I pull on what is now my bottom needle, ready to go. I take one normal stitch. By wrapping around my middle finger like that and make one counterclockwise half hitch, stitch, and stitch. And now, by wrapping around my index finger, I make a clockwise twisted half hitch. Now I'm happy. I started with 4 up and 4 down. I'm going to, this will be a smaller giant mini sock. So I'm going to increase every round. If you're making a larger, tiny mini sock, you might knit one plain round. If it's bordering on the size of a baby booty, go ahead and put in plain round. Okay, here I am. 1, 2, 3, 6. And you'll remember that my first stitch had 2 strands because I was tucking them together. I take my first stitch. I'm going to make a left leaning. Did you catch that? Left leaning. Half hitch. Now I'm going to stitch into the half hitch from previously. Stitching into the other previous half hitch. Sorry, that's just pulling on some more yarn. I make the rightward leaning half hitch. Hard to describe in words, but you can see exactly what I did. Good. Pull through my cord. One, left leaning. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right leg. Do it again. Right leg. Finish the row. I now have 8 up and 8 down. I think I'll have one more increase row. Because I am using size super extra hugely bulky so that you can see it. Remember, I'm not putting a plain knitting row in between my increase rows. My giant mini sock will probably wind up with a stubby little toe. And that's okay. That's what this one will look like. Yours will look more elegant. Here we go. Left leaning. Try not to see this. See how this half hitch is there? I just pop it back on. I began with 4. I'm going up to 10 on this one. You want to go up to at least double your original cast on number. 4 up and 4 down. I'm going to 10 up and 10 down. That will get you a nice proportion. Double is good, slightly more than double is good. Then once I have increased to 10, if I'm using smaller needles and yarn and I'm going for An elegant sock, I tend to cast on 6 and 6 and go to 12 and 12. And that attractive sound was my computer paging out. But I'm almost to the end of the increases. I am just going to continue stockinette until my little foot is as long as it is wide. Alrighty? I will see you in the next video clip.